Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Nick Morganelli. The weather certainly cooperated for the 30th anniversary of Encuentro Juvenil here at Camp Holy Cross. We'll show you what the teenagers experienced.
Massachusetts lawmakers are considering a bill that would expand abortion. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll explain it coming up.
And Thomas Aquinas College, New England will soon be welcoming students through its doors. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. We start on Beacon Hill, where there is proposed legislation that would potentially expand abortion up until a woman's due date. It would also remove medical safeguards for women and parental notification in the case of teenage girls. It is the cause for concern within the pro-life community, and even some pro-choice folks like Governor Baker have opposed it. Carolee McGrath has the latest.
Kenneth Auld may not have pictured himself 15 years ago standing on a street corner holding rosary beads and praying for an end to abortion. But after his own personal heartache, he's here.
I don't know, I think I might have been 24 years old. I had just bought a house with my friends, and I went through it in ways, I guess I tried to talk her out of it, but the decision was already made, and it's not my body, and I went through it, and then I suffered, so to speak, for 8 years.
Kenneth, who took part in the protest PP vigil in April, says he suffered in silence. He struggled with substance abuse, but through the help of his family, found his way back to the church. He was welcomed into the Catholic Church 5 years ago and attended a Rachel's Vineyard retreat, which offers hope and healing for those left heartbroken by a past abortion.
It's personal in the way that I killed my baby. Here I am. I'm in support of this because I agree with it, and my call is save the babies, So that's why I'm here.
The peaceful prayer vigil was organized in conjunction with the national event, #Protest Planned Parenthood. It's one of the many prayer vigils held in recent months as people are concerned about proposed legislation in Massachusetts, which would expand abortion. Deacon Andrew Hogan helped organize the vigil with Pro-Life of Pioneer Valley and the Pro-Life Commission of the Diocese of Springfield. The group gathered say women deserve better.
The women from Silent No More, when you hear them speak, you can't be the same, and after that it changes you. You hear the pain and the suffering, and you see the toll it's still taking on them.
According to the Massachusetts Conference of Catholic Bishops, the so-called Roe Act, Senate Bill 1209, would allow doctors to perform abortion after 24 weeks up until birth, citing any one of the following reasons: physical, emotional, psychological, familial, and the woman's age. In addition, because it would allow late-term abortions in non-hospital settings, it effectively removes access to critical care medical services to a child who survives an abortion attempt. The Massachusetts bishops have spoken out against the legislation. This proposed bill comes on the heels of the passing of the Reproductive Health Act in New York, which also allows abortion up until a woman's due date. Just last week, another small vigil was held in Northampton to bring people's attention to the bill and its companion in the House.
What's offensive to me, and what many of my pro-choice friends think is offensive, is the no longer requiring the abortion to be regulated, performed by a doctor, or performed in a hospital. Because at that point, that's an affront to me as a woman. You're saying his abortion is for you, but we're going to make it a lot less safe for you.
Another provision in this bill is that it strips parental consent for young girls to have an abortion who are under the age of 18. To put this into context, a girl in high school needs parental permission before a school nurse can give her Tylenol. But lawyers also say this really raises some concerns about young women who are being sexually abused by adult men.
This is a sex offender's dream, this bill, because he can get away with all sorts of heinous crimes and nobody else would know about the crimes or about the results of those crimes. And it's not up to a 13 or 14-year-old or 15 or 16-year-old girl to make a lifelong decision that will impact her future, her mental health, her physical health. And we have a responsibility as adults in this society to take care for those who are underage.
According to the Massachusetts Family Institute, a majority of voters are against provisions in this bill, including 62% who oppose allowing more late-term abortions. 62% also support existing law that requires parental permission for a minor seeking abortion. The diocese has been holding information sessions to encourage people to learn more about the legislation. All 4 bishops in Massachusetts released a statement opposing the Roe Act, calling on all people of goodwill to stand together. The director of the Massachusetts Catholic Conference, Jim Driscoll, recently met with lawyers from the St. Thomas More Society.
First of all, understand what the bill does, and that's why we put the bulletin out there, and you can log on to our website and get all this information I'm talking about. First of all, educate yourself, and then call to your reps and the senators in your own district.
And the bishops are asking everyone to pray on this and to help women facing a crisis pregnancy choose life. Women like Sarah Hepburn, who years ago was faced with a choice. Her choice is now 23 years old and hoping to become a police officer.
He changed life for everybody. He's just an amazing human being, and I can't say enough good things about this child. He got me on the path that I needed to be on before I got pregnant with him.
Sarah and others are hoping to help everyone see that everyone's life is precious. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And this week, the proposed legislation was sent to the Judiciary Committee. Information sessions are scheduled for the coming week. You can learn more about those sessions as well as read the Massachusetts Bishop's letter and other information online at iobserve.org. And this isn't the only life issue before the legislature, as it is scheduled to hold hearings on an assisted suicide bill. Back in 2012, Massachusetts voters rejected a similar measure that appeared as a ballot initiative. And still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel, Catholic youth gather at Camp Holy Cross in Goshen for the 30th anniversary of Encuentro Juvenil. And Thomas Aquinas College New England is preparing to open its doors to students this fall. We'll take you on a tour of their California campus and learn more about this unique Catholic college. These stories and more are all still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning. We welcome Father William Lenny as our Mass presider and celebrate the great feast of Pentecost. The Chalice of Salvation, Sunday morning at the early hour of 6 a.m. on WWLP TV 22, and coming up next on Albany's Fox 23 WXXA.
Come to Providence Place, owned by the Sisters of Providence for retirees looking for an ideal rental setting to continue their active, independent lifestyles. We offer bright 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a magnificent chapel with daily mass, restaurant-style dining, wellness and entertainment programs, all with a friendly community spirit on beautiful grounds. Call for a tour, 413-534-9700.
Butcher, baker, candlestick maker, I didn't care what they grew up to be as long as they were happy. To give up marriage and children just seems like too much to walk away from.
He seems to think he's making a real difference in people's lives, and he's so happy. Isn't that what's most important?
I never would have imagined our son as a Catholic priest.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Rulier.
Nearly 100 high school youth from across the Bay State gathered over the Memorial Day weekend at Camp Holy Cross in Goshen for the 30th anniversary of Encuentro Juvenil. Always a powerful, faith-filled event, Nick Morganelli introduces us now to some teens that had a memorable retreat experience.
This year's theme was timeless, and the scripture on their t-shirts was taken from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 8.
Encuentro literally means an encounter, and this is an encounter with Christ. And for our youth who come here, especially to a place like Camp Holy Cross, it's a perfect place to encounter Christ. We see the beauty of nature here. We have confessions, Mass, and we have talks that help point us toward Christ.
Valerie Pedraza already has plans to attend next year, but in her freshman year in high school was reluctant to even get involved.
My first year, I didn't really want to come because it was out in the woods, but my sister forced me to, and it was like a different experience that I've ever had. Seeing so many kids my age be the same as me, all believe in God, all be Catholic, you don't really see that where I come from. Like, you see like people taking like bad paths, and I don't want to be part of that. I want to be the person that God wants me to be. Even if next year is my last year, I'm going to keep coming back and be part of the team.
Most parents drop their children off for the retreat, but one dad got to experience the weekend with his daughter.
He asked me like many times when he started coming to go, but I was like too scared to come. I was like, maybe next year, and I'd always put it off. But then this year I had a couple of people that I was really close to and I felt comfortable with, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it.
Brant Roldan joined the team 4 years ago.
The first time, I didn't know what to expect. I liked it, came back the second time, the third time, and then I said to myself, I can't wait for my daughter to share with her what I'm going through, and I pray for that.
Brant participated as a cabin leader this year.
The cabin, sometimes you never know what to expect, but sometimes it's not what I want to do, it's what the Spirit wants to do for them, for the kids. Eventually we get together after we do activities, and then I put them together to see what are their experience, what they have gone through for the day, and also hopefully so they can open up with other people and just ask questions. But you can see some are very interested, still bother like, this is boring, but at the end, we're going to see the miracle of God in them. I always wanted to work with youth because I feel like that was a calling.
As staff, they even planned skits not only as entertainment, but as a teaching tool as well. One was a highlight for Ariana and her dad.
Last night, they had all of us put blindfolds on, and we sat down, we put them on, and different people would go up to you, tap your shoulder, and you would just have to trust that they're going to take you somewhere safe. But then I got passed off to another person, and when I felt his hand, I knew it was my dad. I just knew it was my dad right away, and he led me through the whole thing, and it was like a beautiful thing. God put him here so that I can blindly be led by him. It's something you have to experience. You can't put it into words, what happens here. And I was really glad to have my dad here.
It's a beautiful thing what God had gave me, not only for her, but also for me and my family and my marriage.
Gloria al Padre, y al Hijo, y al Espíritu Santo, como era al principio, ahora y siempre.
The Encuentro experience began with Father Paul Manship, who was responsible for its longevity and success. After many years, he left the priesthood. His wife Laura was present for a tree planting memorial service as Paul passed away last year.
And so relationship always for Paul was so important. That was a guiding principle.
I consider Paul Manship is the hands of God.
Deacon Santiago Martinez was one of the first campers when this ministry began.
He put the seed in my heart, and that's why I'm here today.
Father Manship influenced his journey to the diaconate, and he views the legacy of Encuentro as a top priority.
It is important because a lot of the time we say the youth, they are the future of the church. For myself, the youth is not the future of the church, it's the now at the church. I think I'm going to start serving here when I start reading.
For Real to Real, storytelling in Goshen at Camp Holy Cross, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Finally, this fall, the Springfield Diocese will welcome a second Catholic institution of higher learning when Thomas Aquinas College New England opens in Northfield. Founded in California, Thomas Aquinas will be sending some of its current faculty and students east to be part of this pioneering effort here in Western Massachusetts. We had a crew visit their California campus this spring where we toured and spoke with faculty and students. And Steve Kiltonic reports now on what incoming students and parents can expect.
After a nearly 3-year process, Thomas Aquinas College New England will open its doors in Northfield this August. The Santa Paula, California campus, where Thomas Aquinas College was founded, will send 35 of its current freshman class east, where, as sophomores, they will join 35 new members of the branch's first freshman class. 8 of the faculty will also be making the move. There is much anticipation as Thomas Aquinas will become the second Catholic college in the Springfield Diocese, joining Our Lady of the Elms College in Chicopee. There are obvious differences in both campuses. The students at the beautiful Santa Paula campus enjoy the warm, sunny climate of Southern California, surrounded by primarily Spanish-themed architecture, while the Northfield campus features a traditional New England look and feel with lots of brick, stone, and unpredictable weather. But weather and architecture aside, there is one constant: the unique Catholic liberal education which defines Thomas Aquinas College will remain unchanged. Several months ago, students, faculty, administrators, and clergy reflected on their California experience and spoke about their hopes and dreams for the New England campus, as well as their expectations for the Northfield community. Michael McLean is the president of Thomas Aquinas College.
Our mission statement really does speak of education of Catholic education as the process of faith-seeking understanding. So we really take the teachings of the Catholic Church very seriously, and we study very seriously the intellectual tradition of the Catholic Church, philosophy and theology.
Unlike most colleges, the curriculum at Thomas Aquinas does not include electives or majors. All students pursue the same course of liberal arts studies over 4 years.
And that has a tremendous advantage because the students are able to talk to one another about their education. They form very close friendships among themselves and with the faculty. And it's just a kind of education which permeates the whole community.
Paul O'Reilly is the Vice President of Development and an alum of Aquinas.
There's a certain intimacy between the faculty and the students. There's not a them and us attitude. So that keeps you young when the students themselves want to chat with you and let you know what's on their minds. I've taught at other schools, and so I see, by contrast, the things that make this institution and this community stand apart. And one of them is the friendliness, the unity of the community itself.
The integrated program of studies includes 4 years of philosophy, theology, natural science, mathematics, 2 years of Latin, a year of music, and a course called Seminar, where students read literature and history. John Goyette, the dean of the college, said the great books serve as the foundation on which the entire Aquinas curriculum is based. They are the seminal works of Western civilization's most profound and influential thinkers.
We don't use textbooks, we use primary sources, so our students are really reading what we like to call the great books. So we like to say that our teachers at the college are really, Plato and Aristotle, St. Augustine, St. Thomas Aquinas, Galileo and Newton, Homer, Dante, Shakespeare. These are really the real teachers.
Freshmen also have a year to read another great book, the Bible, which is a requirement. The teachers in the classroom are called tutors instead of professors because, said Goyette, they are the conduits to helping students learn from the great minds. All classes incorporate the discussion method, where the tutor asks an opening question, but the students carry the conversation.
And so they must possess constant differentiating characteristics. How does that make sense? How can something both be constant and differentiating?
All of our students, in a way, have a much greater responsibility for their own learning. They don't come and listen to a professor lecture to them. They in a way, have to prepare well and really do the bulk of the talking. So they learn from each other. It helps them read critically, to analyze an argument, to learn to work with their peers in a conversation.
Jean Gaheru and Mary O'Reilly are freshmen who will be packing their bags and heading to Northfield this fall. A native of Brazil, Gaheru offers some advice for next year's freshman class.
This education requires a lot of effort, so we have to study and really put ourselves into the program. So we have to read the readings carefully. So, and for that to happen, you can't be checking your phone while you're reading. You can't be talking to a friend while you're reading. These distractions take out your time, and the time here is really precious. Since we are a Catholic college, we tend to try to live this intellectual life with the spiritual life, and the silence is essential for this life of contemplation.
Two of O'Reilly's sisters and both parents, including her dad, Paul O'Reilly, graduated from Thomas Aquinas.
My first impression was, these people have my back. Like, everyone here is studying the same thing, and I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew that all these people were here to help me.
Her message to the incoming class: everything pays off in the end.
I tell them it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. That's what I think they need to know, because it really is hard. The stuff we study here is really hard. I mean, Aristotle, you have to read that 2 or 3 times, even if it's just 1 page long, before you actually understand it. And once you understand what, say, Aristotle is trying to say, everything makes sense. It all makes sense, and you feel smart. Like, I've never felt smart before, but after discussing these things and figuring out what Aristotle, who's one of the greatest thinkers of all time, had intended, that feeling is so powerful.
O'Reilly believes that having rules and regulations helps to facilitate learning, although she wasn't sold at first.
When I was applying to TAC, I was like, no, there's so many rules. I would never be able to go through with this. But actually, I have really loved having the rules. Say, like curfew, you have to be in your dorms by 11. You get a good night's sleep, you come to school, and you're ready to discuss.
There's also a mandatory dress code and a formality used when speaking.
I think it's really important because it makes this community more professional. We all have, the girls have to be in skirts, the guys have to be, I think, in collared shirts for class. But it is really professional. And again, we use, in the classroom, we use Miss or Mr. when we address each other.
Faith plays an important role in the students' everyday life. Masses are held 4 times a day to accommodate the students' schedules. Father Paul Raftery is one of 4 chaplains in Palo Alto.
We have confessions before and after each Mass. We have Eucharistic adoration each day, followed by benediction. Once a month we have all-night Eucharistic adoration for the first Friday. So there's a rich spiritual life on campus that really students are able to appreciate and to be part of.
The Center for Spiritual Life at Northfield will be the historic 110-year-old Sage Chapel.
It's a great privilege to be here working with these young people and knowing that I'm doing something which is really crucial to their spiritual development by offering the sacraments and spiritual guidance. About 10% go off to priesthood or religious life. So that's a testimony to the benefit of having us priests with the students on a daily basis.
But despite the heavy academic load, there is time for students to relax, have fun, and just enjoy their surroundings.
We love practicing sports and doing fun things. We go hiking, we play soccer. Most people here work out in very different ways. Everyone is very active, and we are really looking forward to engage in the community that we're going to be in. Personally, I enjoy the weather here, so I'm not going there for this reason, but I'm pretty sure that that's something that's going to be very interesting and a good experience for sure. Yeah.
I'm really excited to be a part of the community out in Massachusetts. I've never actually been on the East Coast, but I hear great things about it. I love this education so much. I love this place, and I really want to make that more available to people. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with the Massachusetts.
President McLean urges students and families to stop by the Northfield campus.
If you come and visit by August, you'll see a lively group of students who are going to be happy to be there. They're going to be engaged in their education. They're going to be enjoying the academic and social and spiritual life that we're going to provide.
Everyone is looking forward to August 24th, which is Convocation Day and the opening Mass on the Northfield campus. Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky, who, said McLean, has supported this effort from the beginning, will be the principal celebrant of the Mass. The first day of classes is August 26th. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Steve says there's still room for rising high school seniors to explore the college during its Great Books program, slated on the campus from July 28th until August 10th. It's a great way to find out what the college has to offer. And for more information, head over to iobserve.org for a link. And before we wrap things up, we want to let you know that our own Mark Giza will be starring in the Hampden Theatre Company's production of the classic musical My Fair Lady. It is a dream come true for Mark Giza as he prepares to play pompous phonetics professor Henry Higgins in the award-winning musical, telling the story of Cockney flower girl Eliza Doolittle's transformation into an elegant lady. Giza, founder and longtime director of the Hampden Theatre Guild, was motivated to temporarily hang up his director's cap for the lead role in My Fair Lady.
Basically, it was the show. I've always wanted to play Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady, and our group picked the show. So about a year ago, I started actually preparing for the audition, taking voice lessons and elocution lessons and getting ready to audition because I wanted to do the best audition I had ever done because I really wanted the part.
Giza has directed about 20 shows for the group, earning 4 Massachusetts Critics Circle Awards for Best Director. But in this play, he is the one receiving direction from Paula Cordes. Janine Westbrook will star as Eliza Doolittle, and the 18-member cast plans to bring a few new twists to the production.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! Do I look like a policeman?
Giza says audiences will love the Hampden Theatre Guild's production of this timeless classic.
Well, it's a beautiful story. It's based on Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, and the writing is just beautiful. The character of Henry Higgins and Eliza Doolittle and their relationship, and then the music, the score by Lerner and Loewe is so beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful scores ever written, and personally one of my favorites.
Performance dates for My Fair Lady are June 13th, 15th, 16th, 20th, and 22nd at Minnechaug Regional High School in Wilbraham. We have a link for tickets at iobserve.org. And a programming note for our viewers on WWLP TV 22. Chalice of Salvation will be airing at an earlier time tomorrow at 6 a.m. Again, that's at 6 a.m. just for viewers of TV 22. And that's all we have for this week. Remember, for updates anytime, head over to our news and information site, iobserve.org. We also update our Facebook page daily with news of what our reporters are working on, so check that out also, and like us at Catholic Communications. I will see you right back here next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.